It's Saturday, August 16th, and Erin has insanely transformed into a monster Category 5 hurricane. This storm looks absolutely beautiful on infrared satellite. We have a extremely defined eye and just a very, very organized storm structure, which we do normally see with these Category 5 storms. And we know Erin is a Category 5 storm because the most recent Hurricane Hunter recon mission measured a 916 millibar reading at the center of the storm. So just to put into perspective how fast Erin has transformed from a Category 1 to a monster Category 5, the strongest it gets on the scale, it has dropped roughly 80 millibars in 24 hours and has increased in winds roughly 100 miles an hour in 24 hours. That 100-mile-an-hour increase has been proven by a reading of 166 miles an hour in the northwestern eye wall. So truly some insane stuff going on with Erin. And this is one of those situations where once again we see some rapid intensification that really no model, not even the National Hurricane Center, really thought was going to happen yesterday. But currently the Antilles, the Virgin Islands, and probably Puerto Rico in the next couple of hours will likely start to see some potential tropical storm impacts. So gusty winds and even possibly some surge and quite a lot of waves and dangerous rip currents. So that's going to be in the short term. And here are our sea surface temperatures. Erin would be roughly right about here on this map. And we have really just seen a perfect storm of our ingredients come together. These are the sea surface temperatures around 85 degrees Fahrenheit where Erin is, which is really the main thing driving that rapid intensification. And then this is a map of our shear, and Erin would be right about here. And we can see that it's in a extremely favorable area of shear, not really any shear fighting the storm at all at the moment. And the last thing is going to be the available moisture to the storm. The past couple of days where we really didn't see any explosive intensification, it was around quite a lot of dust and some dry air, but because it's gotten so organized and is really closed off that high, it's really able to keep that moisture in and is able to siphon some of that moisture. So a very favorable environment, pretty much a perfect storm of all of our ingredients culminating together, allowing this insane intensification, probably one of the fastest intensifications that we have ever seen in the Atlantic. Now, the main question is going to be, how does this affect the track? This rapid intensification will actually push the track probably a bit more west. So I'm not going to rule out seeing potentially some tropical storm impacts to areas such as far eastern or the Atlantic coast of North Carolina. I do still think that's possible because we've already seen a lot of things which we weren't expecting, although I will say that that is going to be pretty unlikely at this point. We do see the cone of uncertainty pretty much all the way out into Tuesday, and storms really never leave this cone of uncertainty. The National Hurricane Center's track record is almost perfect with this, but I would not rule out still potentially seeing some tropical storm impacts to North Carolina. I do think that's still possible, but it is important to remember that that is very unlikely. So just a reminder to stay weather aware. But the most likely thing that would happen, which would really be for the best, is that this storm is going to thread the needle between Bermuda and the US, so no land impacts at all. And then also for Bermuda, there is still the potential for even hurricane impacts out here, although that is not currently super likely. But definitely if you are on the coast of North Carolina or in Bermuda, stay extremely weather aware of this storm and keep watching for updates. And further confirming that trend of seeing just Erin threading the needle between the US and Bermuda, here are our European ensembles also showing the same thing. Now, currently, this model does not account for Erin becoming a Category 5 storm all the way down here, where it's still potentially seen as a Category 1 storm by a lot of our ensembles. So I would expect this track to potentially be a bit more west. So that's one of the reasons why I do still think tropical storm impacts to North Carolina could be in play because of this storm's rapid intensification and how strong it has become in such a short amount of time that not a lot of the models have really been able to account for it, but that is still unlikely, and a lot of the ensembles are kind of showing the same thing as this right now. So just a reminder, stay pretty weather aware and watch Erin very closely if you're in Bermuda or coastal North Carolina. But currently, it is looking like you might not see any impacts from the storm, and this would just be a scientific marvel going up through the Atlantic and not really harming anybody, which would, of course, be the best case scenario. And the last thing I'm going to mention is that the National Hurricane Center's website does actually technically still have Erin as a Category 4 hurricane, but it has it 1 mile an hour shy of that category 5 threshold. But this is a storm that's not increasing in intensity by the day or hour, it's increasing in intensity by the minute. So I can confidently say that Erin is already a category 5 hurricane, despite the National Hurricane Center's website or 11 a.m. advisory saying that it is a 4 or 1 mile an hour shy of being a 5. And at that point, there's really not much of a difference there. It's pretty much the same intensity. So there's a little tidbit on that in case there was any confusion. But the main thing with this is going to be just keep your eyes on this storm. Even if it doesn't impact anybody, it's definitely something that is going to be really interesting to watch as it evolves. And yeah, just stay tuned for the next National Hurricane Center advisory, which would come out at 4 p.m. today, August 16th, Saturday. And then the next one would come out possibly around 8 p.m. and 11. The National Hurricane Center does like to include more advisories for big storms like that. So definitely something to look out for as we go later through the day.